Now this crystal, it comes from South America, not from Brazil, but from Peru. And there is one particular mine in Peru where all the crystals have another crystal growing inside it. Sometimes when you hold them up to the light, you can see the other crystal in there. Sometimes you can't, but if you look at the base of the crystal, you can see these haven't been cut and polished, of course. You can actually see the other crystal growing inside it. Now again, oftentimes people would look at crystal like this and think nothing much of it. It's not all sparkling. It doesn't look like a diamond or something. So they just don't think about it. It's only if it's pointed out to them that this crystal is also very, very useful for taking you into your own inner world. These crystals that have grown inside others are, in fact, that is not the correct description. They haven't grown inside others. What's happened is that others have grown over them. But actually we call these crystals phantom crystals. Sometimes you find them in Brazil. They don't only come from this particular mine in Peru. They come from Brazil. Sometimes you can find them from Madagascar. They're rather, in some ways, rather common. But it is another crystal, another type of crystal, which is worth talking about and worth giving you some information about, because these phantom crystals, as I said, give you access to your own inner world. And it's like our good old friend the Buddha, when he was asked, well, Master, how did you find enlightenment? Where did you find enlightenment? And he said, I searched and searched and searched and searched for years and years and years everywhere. I looked and looked and looked. And then I stopped and sat down under a tree and looked inside myself. And then I became enlightened. So I'm not suggesting that by meditating with one of these crystals that you will become instantly enlightened. In fact, most human beings, or I would say a very large percentage of human beings, if they achieved instant enlightenment, they would not be able to deal with it. They would become unenlightened again very quickly. Of course, we won't go into how this could happen. We won't spend time on that. But meditating with these crystals, with these phantom crystals, will take you deep inside of yourself. And inside of yourself is everything that you need, or everything which can assist you in becoming enlightened. There is another word for enlightenment. It is self-realized. So they will help you achieve self-realization. It's a very important piece of information that many don't realize. Everybody, or most people, they're looking outside themselves everywhere. We want the technique, give us the meditation, give us the activation, give us the initiation, and yet you have everything within you. If only you sit and turn your attention there. Turn your attention to your heart, to your true heart, and you will realize the love that you are. Don't look for love outside of yourself. You are love now. If only you allow yourself to realize it. This is part of self-realization. So you can sit and meditate with these crystals. And of course, many people would now say, well, I don't know how to meditate. I haven't been given any technique. I haven't been to the classes. Who needs a class for meditation? Nobody needs a class for meditation. You're already an expert meditator. If only you sit quietly and do it. Take the crystal in your hands. Activate the crystal. This is an unpolished crystal. It has on its faces lines, striations. You can sit with the crystal, you can rub your thumbnail over the crystal, up and down like this. This also will help the activation of the crystal. And then you can say to the crystal, you don't say to the crystal, take me within. Because remember, you're learning to stand in your own power. You're not giving your power away to the crystal. You and the crystal are equals. You're working together, or you're playing together. You say to the crystal, please can you assist me in the movement into myself? So you sit quietly. You close your eyes. And then your conscious mind says, what am I supposed to do now? What's supposed to happen? Nothing is supposed to happen. No preconceived ideas. Look inside yourself. See what you are. Ask yourself, what am I? Ask yourself, where do I come from? Ask yourself, am I open to receiving the love that there is? Am I open to accepting an expanded radiation of this love of the divine? Of course, the radiation is already there. You don't have to ask the divine, give me an expanded radiation. You have to ask yourself, am I ready to accept? Am I ready to live consciously in this love? Ask yourself, why do I always keep looking outside myself? Why am I always searching? A very good answer to this question is would it be useful if I can see inside myself and I can see my denial? I can see the potentials that I have for self-programmed denial, for self-condemnation, for my feelings of usefulness and my feelings of being a victim. So once you see that they're there and you realize those potentials, what do? You change. How do you change? Just change. Again, there is no technique. There is no initiation which will bring this change. An initiation can assist you in the realization of the fact that you need to make change, but the initiation will not bring change. The initiation will not change you in one moment, or 1 year, or one lifetime. It will only activate the potential within you for change. You are the one that has to make the change. So, the conscious mind says, how? I need a technique. You could say there's no technique, but in fact there is. But when I tell you what the technique is, you'll say, well, that's not a technique anyway. And I've already given you the technique a few minutes ago. Just change. Just change. It's up to you. It's not up to some angel or some multidimensional master or some crystal. or some channeler, or some so-called healer. Remember, no healers on planet Earth, no healers in the universe, only facilitators. People facilitate healing for other people. They create an event or a situation that they can bring energy which assists the person in healing themselves. So this is what you're doing. Create your own situation. Facilitate for yourself. Facilitate your own change. Make up your mind that from this moment I will not live in separation and duality. I will not live in emotional turmoil. I will not live in this self-created hell that many people are living in. Make a decision. Ask the crystal to assist you. Remember, the crystal isn't going to do it for you. The crystal is going to assist you. It's going to facilitate. This is your healing facilitator. It's your friend. It's the person that cares about you. So you sit, you hold the crystal. In 5 seconds you become an expert meditator. Oh, yes, I see what I've been doing in my life. I make myself a failure. Every time I'm liable to succeed, I create a situation so it destroys everything. Now I know why this part of my life is a so-called mess, or why you would call it a mess, or why it's all upside down and things never seem to work out. Okay, so now I'll look for this. I will take notice of my actions. Don't become neurotic watching yourself. It is just another way of disempowerment, another form of disempowerment. But when you make a mistake, say to yourself, no mistakes. There is no mistakes. It's a judgment. Here is a beautiful lesson. I will accept the lesson. I will integrate the lesson. And now I've integrated the lesson, I won't create the situation again. So then maybe you forget one day and you create the situation again. Well, don't judge yourself. Say, okay, I haven't quite learned this lesson, so I'll take a little bit more care. Sit and meditate with your crystal. Ask your crystal to assist you in this self-transformation, to bring energies which will help you, energies which will assist you, energies which will create more focus in your mind. And the process of change moves slowly onwards. All great journeys begin with the first step. But unless you take the first step, you go nowhere. Even if you do not have a crystal with another crystal inside it, a phantom crystal, take the crystal you have at home, in your hand, or in your hands. Hold it like this. Sit comfortably. Ask the crystal, can you assist me? Maybe even you could show me pictures in my mind. You could maybe even ask the crystal to speak to you so that you can hear it in your head. ask the crystal, what can it see? Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes. Okay. Let's transmute. Let's transmute. Transmute, transmute, transmute. As you're transmuting, don't judge. Don't blame yourself or others. Have you ever noticed the potential? It's my mother's fault, it's my father's fault, it's my sister's fault. It's my ex-wife's fault, it's my children's fault, it's the government's fault, it's God's fault. We create our own reality. Just create another one. I'm willing to let go. I now let go. I open myself to the love of Source. As you open yourself to the love of Source, the crystal begins to vibrate more strongly in your hands. Because the crystal is saying, yes, here is what you asked for. Yes, here you are. Opening, opening, opening your heart. And as your heart opens, tell yourself that you love yourself unconditionally, totally without conditions. Totally without conditions. This is the essence of change. The essence of self-realization and enlightenment. Just love. So you don't have to be an expert yogi and sit around for hours doing this. If you followed this small practice for 10 or 15 minutes a day, you could make a big difference to your lives. Your crystal friends will help you. And you might say, well, I have a busy life and I don't have any time. I would ask you, do you have time to worry? Do you have time to be emotional? And if your answer is yes, I can tell you that you have time to meditate.